Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm David Tennant. In the news this week, after Kim Jong-un demands his favourite fruit pudding, his relieved chef returns having sourced the only watermelon in North Korea. On a Southern rail service, Mary Berry regrets trying to smoke a crafty fag in the train toilet. And in Salford, a BBC journalist reports on rumours that a pigeon may be loose in the breakfast news studio. On Ian's team tonight is a playwright who says a good tip for any aspiring writer is to write backwards. To welcome warm, a give please so, Lucy Prebble. And with Paul tonight, a comedian who was once heckled at a comedy festival by a sign language interpreter who was later ordered to wash their hands out with soap. Please welcome Reginald D. Hunter. So, we start with the bigger stories of the week. Paul and Reg,
yes.
Take a look at this.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Make America Great Again. Jeff Sessions has just been told to leave, and there's Donald Trump look-alike. Looks like Angela Merkel, I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is the midterm elections in America.
It is. This is the realisation we're only halfway through the first Trump presidency. It was the midterms. Was it a bad night for Trump?
Well, not entirely. I mean, there is good news and bad news, but essentially, come January, the Democrats are going to be asking for his tax returns.
Right.
Which he's not going to be very happy to be showing people because it will show his shady business dealings over the years.
Maybe it's all fine. Maybe he's never done anything wrong.
Yeah.
Don't be silly.
Trump ain't showed nobody a tax return since 2006. I mean, Democrats coming in, half of them want to be Republicans, so we'll see. I wish that had been funnier, but... I mean, you know, sometimes the truth is just humorless.
It was a good night for Democrats, though, wasn't it? I mean, to some extent.
Yeah.
It was, you know, they won the House, which was what everyone was hoping they would do. More women elected than pretty much we've seen ever before. I think 2 women in their 20s, which is, I think, has never, ever happened before in American politics. I mean, I'm impressed that they got round to doing it. In my 20s, I was basically throwing up from too many Bacardi Breezes and watching Home and Away. So, good on them.
Yeah, in all fairness to you, the country wasn't in as much trouble as it was in your 20s.
That's true. That's true. Maybe if I drink more Bacardi Breezes, things will sort themselves out.
Well, I mean, if we can look at it that way if you want.
According to Trump, why was the Democratic victory in the House of Representatives actually good news for him?
Well, it means he can blame them when they block his measures and then say, well, I tried and it's all your fault.
This is how he put it.
They can look at us, and then we can look at them, and it'll go back and forth, and it'll probably be very good for me politically. I could see it being extremely good politically, because I think I'm better at that game than they are.
He's been wearing goggles in the fake tan again.
It's like a negative photograph of a panda, isn't it? He did say the other day in a rally, I've kept promises I didn't even make.
Yeah.
When the Republicans was in power, I mean, these last couple of years, the only thing he really got across with not much difficulty is tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's been his enduring achievement so far.
Yeah.
So, and, I mean, we got rich Democrats. I don't really think he's going to have as much problem as people think he's going to have.
Well, that's very depressing, Reg.
Oh, I forgot. I thought this was England.
Well, I like the idea that he thinks he can concentrate on foreign affairs, because this caravan of people coming from Honduras, he said, was full of Middle Easterners. Somehow, the entire Middle East has moved into the top of South America.
That's when he got very angry with Jim Acosta, the journalist from CNN, who was asking him about this caravan and, you know...
Right.
And it's not really an invasion, which was the word that Trump kept using.
But he had a rally cheering, saying we're going to shoot them. Yay!
Well, you know, the Trump supporters aren't bright.
You see, it's that sort of insight you don't get on mainstream shows.
Yeah, in the same press conference, we did indeed see Trump having a little word with one of his friends on the press corps. Let's take a look at this.
That's
well, I was
enough.
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me, that's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts his
Well, I'm
butt
not a
like
big
the rest
fan
of
of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest.
See, this is where the next reporter should then have defended that job. Well, I mean, they accused the reporter of manhandling, putting his hands on this White House staffer, and which, of course, in the footage doesn't happen.
It's truly sinister what they've done there, because actually there's a video going around online now which is that footage, but sped up at one particular point. And it's sped up at the point that the arms touch. But the White House has retweeted it, and the White House is basically spreading that around as being what happened to show that Jim Acosta has sort of assaulted this White House intern, which is absolutely not the case at all. Their arms touch at one point. But that's an Orwellian touch. I mean, that's really incredibly sinister.
I have to be honest, though. In the last 10 years or so, I think the right wing in America, they've been whooping our butts with this. They'll say something really nonsensical, and we're stunned. And in the state of being stunned, legislation and stuff gets passed. Like, you know, you'll be in court with one of them, and your lawyer will say, we need to handle something about voting rights, and I think we need to look at these districts. And the other side will say, well, I love my mom, apple pie, and yabba dabba do. And you go, what the fuck? And then while you going, what the fuck? Somebody goes, case dismissed, next.
What did Trump do to celebrate the Republican increase in Senate control?
Punch a baby?
Well, and then sacked one of his staff.
The Attorney General.
Yeah, he made him resign.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And in a letter to Trump, Sessions wrote, at your request, I'm submitting my resignation. Yes, this is the US midterm elections. During a heated press conference this week, President Trump called CNN's Jim Acosta a rude, horrible person, causing a nearby pot and kettle to blow a fuse. President Trump was also critical of candidates in his own party who were defeated because they didn't want the embrace of my support. On the plus side, Trump saved himself some money there. His embraces usually end up costing him thousands of dollars. One surprising victor in the elections was Dennis Hoff, a dead brothel owner in Nevada. According to the Mirror, Mr. Hoff died at his love ranch in Crystal. How distressing for him.
They were doing the joke minutes before.
Ian and Lucy, take a look at this.
Oh, that's Mr. Banks.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's money laundering, I think. He's had a bad week, Aaron.
Yes.
He's been under investigation, and people have said, where did this money come from that you gave Leave UK, which was your organisation? And Andrew Marr asked him this question about 4 or 5 times, and he got very cross. He did a full Trump.
Yeah.
You know, when you're...
Can you explain that? Did he sort of rise in the chair?
No, his immediate thing, he turned on the media and he said, this is the establishment stitched me up. Perfectly reasonable question. One wants to know, you know, is this country's democratic system funded and interfered with by Russia?
Is Aaron Banks litigious, Ian?
Yes.
So I couldn't call him a Poundland Bond villain?
Oh, yeah, do.
OK, all right.
He described himself as the bad boy of Brexit.
So what y'all saying then is he some kind of bad dude?
There's nothing gets past you, Reg.
He's saying, of course, that none of the £8 million donation came from Russia. It is quite difficult to follow, so, as you say, he went on Andrew Marr and explained it like this.
Where did the money
Andrew,
originally come
it's
from?
not like I'm using a super injunction to try and hide my
Where
affairs
did the
here.
money
I'm
originally
telling you,
come
it came
from?
from a UK company
Which
that had
company?
cash generated in the UK.
Which
We've
UK
evidenced
company?
That, Rock Services. We've evidenced that to the
Your
Electoral
Rock
Commission.
Services is a shell company. It doesn't generate
You
money
just said
itself.
it's a shell company. You just read the FT.
You told Parliament that Rock Services was just a service company. You've told me something very different today.
I haven't seen the
And
actual
part of it-
transcript of that. I will go back and look at that.
Well, let's just remind us what Aaron Banks did say to the Commons Select Committee. He said, Rock Services is a Treasury function. It just delivers the cash. It is just a service company. The actual loan came from another one of my companies that was delivered in. Aaron Banks still hasn't said exactly which company the loan came from.
The brilliant thing at the end is, because he is so completely Trumpy now, he said, I wish I'd voted Remain.
Yeah.
After all that. He's given £8 million to vote Leave. He gets the result he wants. He's friends with Farage. He gets to meet Trump and he says, oh, I wish I'd done the other because I'm on Mar, being accused of being a crook. Just accused. Don't laugh.
And then what was Theresa May accused of earlier this week?
Still being in power.
A leaked document suggested that Theresa May had already done a secret deal with the EU and was planning to bypass the cabinet and generate public support by a stealthy media campaign.
She's good at those.
So stealthy, it's almost like nothing's happening.
It is a great idea, though, isn't it, that she did the deal, say, a year ago, and she spent the whole year going...
Yes, the cabinet members are complaining of being kept in the dark. One insider told The Express, we're calling them mushrooms because they're kept in the dark. And more importantly, if you pick the wrong ones, they turn out to be deadly poisonous.
If you pick the right ones, they turn out to be wild.
Who else is causing trouble in Europe?
Is it Merkel?
There's another country.
Another
France.
country
In Europe?
Let's name them all. France.
Is this the Italian budget question? I do hope so.
It's someone... It's Poland.
Poland, oh, yes.
Donald Tusk is very worried that Poland is moving towards leaving the EU. What are they going to call that? Anyone know?
Noland. Sorry.
That would be much better than the real answer.
Hexit.
Yeah,
Plexit?
nearly.
Polexit.
Polexit.
There
There
we
you go.
That's it.
Which isn't very good, is it? I mean, if Poland are really causing trouble, the Germans can always go and sort that out, can't they?
Too soon.
What fundamental problem do the Cabinet have as far as the rest of the country is concerned?
Well, that no one agrees with anyone about anything.
Yeah.
There's no majority for any course of action from any group of people anywhere in Britain. Which is quite a problem.
It is. Think much more facile than that.
I just said it.
The problem is no one knows who they are. Although
Naming the cabinet.
Exactly. YouGov conducted a large poll and it revealed that everyone had heard of Theresa May, which is a good start.
Yeah.
And Philip Hammond was recognised by most. Really? But less than 20% had heard of David Gauke. Which is difficult to believe, isn't it? Just to prove how recognisable David Gauke really is, should we play a game of Where's David Gauke?
Yeah.
Does he have music?
Yeah. I'm going to show you a series of complex images, and you have to tell me where is David Gauke. Fingers on buzzers.
OK.
Here's the first one. Anyone know where David Gauke is?
Yeah.
Yes?
He's third from the left of the second row. Right, let's say, yeah.
Not sure. Here's the second one. David Gauke, he's in there somewhere.
Yeah, behind the red briefcase, basically, far left.
No.
No, he's the
Sure.
bloke next to him.
He's coming out of Osborne's ear.
Nobody can be sure. And how about the third one?
Like the birth of Athena.
He's looking through the window.
Oh, yes.
I've got it.
Yes, this is the news that Theresa May has finally sorted Brexit. I'm kidding. One insider denied that there was a secret deal ready to be signed off. We are not sitting on a powder keg, said a government spokesman in 1605. On to round two. This is the randomiser of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Yeah.
Ian.
This man swam round the whole of Britain.
That's right. Ross Edgley has become the first person to swim around Britain. How long did it take him?
About 25 minutes.
3 months.
100 days.
157 days. Said he had some incredible experiences, including swimming with minke whales in the Bristol Channel, seeing a 7-metre basking shark in Scotland, and celebrating his 33rd birthday in Grimsby Harbour. We've all been there, mate. What did Ross lose while swimming?
Some weight?
No.
No.
He'd forgotten how to walk. The arches of his feet. I'm not making this up, am I?
Had he grown a tail like a merman?
Well, muscles do atrophy in your legs very quickly. If you know, within a couple of days, if you're not using them, it starts the process. So he hadn't forgotten how to walk, and his legs had.
His legs had, and he's got to do that. Is that right?
No.
Ian, you made me look like an idiot.
He lost his tongue. And I don't mean metaphorically. Bits of his tongue actually fell off due to the constant exposure to salty water. He told The Guardian, "I realised something was bad when I woke up with chunks of it on my pillow."
Hang on, pillow?
Yeah.
What's he on a night?
Pillow?
Well, he didn't sleep in the water.
Didn't he? Well, that's not swimming around the coast non-stop, is it? What did he do? Go to a hotel?
He's still a human being. He's not the Little Mermaid.
He's a liar. Honestly.
The man's tongue fell out.
Yes, because he lied.
You're applauding this poor bloke.
He woke up with chunks of it on his pillow. The flesh was a lot like beef stroganoff or slow-cooked pork. You could see the taste buds on it. It was that thick.
He sound proud.
How did he protect himself against jellyfish?
We had a wetsuit on.
Yeah. What bit was exposed?
His face.
Face.
He wrapped a duvet round it. Pillow man.
He tried not to swim into a jellyfish face first.
Yeah.
Well, he did, unfortunately.
Did he?
To
That
avoid
might explain the tongue, too.
Yeah.
he grew a beard to
And
avoid
a
it
tongue.
happening again. Because, in his own words, a fat, giant jellyfish of Scotland and its tentacle had been slapping me in the face for half an hour.
Yes, your breakfast is ready. You want croissants?
You're
You want
protected.
chocolate on your cappuccino?
What other feats of endurance has Ross Edgley done before this, do you know?
Yeah, he's walked upstairs and claimed it was Everest.
I'm just so sorry for it.
He's gone through worse than this.
Yeah.
Didn't he swim the channel?
He swam 24 miles dragging a 100-pound log.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
In water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had an outboard motor on it.
He ran a marathon pulling a car.
That somebody else was driving. I see this guy's MO. I mean,
What lengths did one woman go to get a cake to Ross?
Did she swim out
Yes.
with the cake?
Well, he was resting in the Hebrides one morning when a lady
resting
swam
in the
out.
Hebrides. Was this man in the sea at any point? He walks around the island 5 feet away. I'm in the sea, but it's a bit cold today.
He was in the sea at the time.
Was he?
He was resting in the sea.
Was he?
Perhaps on a lilo, I don't
Yeah.
know. I was resting in the Hebrides one morning when a lady swam out to me with a cake resting on her head. Unfortunately, Ross then discovered the cake had a severely soggy bottom. Yes, this is the news that Ross Edgley has become the first person to swim around Britain.
Allegedly.
According to the Daily Telegraph, Ross slept on a support boat.
Oh.
Started the day with a breakfast of 2 pizzas. I think it was tough for him. Spare a thought for the delivery man in his moped. Time for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Your 4 are Richard Madeley, Char the cow, Meghan Markle, and a statue of Mo Salah.
That's Richard Madeley?
Richard Madeley, yeah.
Madeley.
Yeah. The game is not to identify the people.
Okay. They have something to do with awards. The cow won an award.
What did the cow win an award for?
Best supporting actor.
Sexiest cow.
The sexiest cow in Norwich.
Have you stumbled on this by accident?
Yeah.
Because you're nearly right.
Is it really?
Yeah. Which is the odd one out?
They're all presenting Radio 2's Drive Time.
Mo Salah's the odd one out.
No.
That's right. Richard Madeley's the odd one out.
No.
Meghan Markle's the odd one out.
No.
The cow's the odd one out.
Cow's the odd one out. Yes, they've all had their appearance criticised, except for a Jersey named Char, who's been voted Britain's sexiest cow. What does Char's owner, Charlotte Cunningham, attribute this significant victory to?
Quite a lot of blue eyeshadow, I
It does
think.
look like she's been made up slightly, doesn't it? Yes. She said that Char has great hair, big pretty eyes and statement eyebrows.
What statement are they making?
I am a cow.
Do you want to have a look at the two runners-up?
Yeah.
Here's Twinkle.
Yeah, no, right decision.
Yeah, but look at Bonnie. Yeah.
I mean, it's cute, but you wouldn't want to have sex
Yeah.
with that.
Although, it did come third in a Boris Johnson lookalike contest.
What was Char's prize for winning the competition?
Life.
Yeah. Not to be made into steaks.
A weekend spa retreat for two. So what, according to royal experts, is Meghan Markle's bad habit that she's been criticised for?
I think this is not wearing a hat.
It's
that right?
not wearing a hat.
It's not wearing a hat. Is it not wearing a hat?
Although, how dare she not wear a hat?
Yeah. OK.
She's been criticised for wearing too many clothes with pockets, like this. I know. Yes, a righteous
Pockets
gasp.
and dresses are the answer to absolutely everything, and I will fight for the right to have pockets. Woo!
It's amazing what you get a round of applause for.
According to royal etiquette expert William Hanson, he says, there is good casual and there is bad casual. Placing a hand in the pocket is too relaxed and unprofessional, however dressed down Prince Harry and his wife may have been. What part of Richard Madeley's appearance was criticised this week?
His hair?
Not quite.
Not quite his hair.
His facial hair. He's been experimenting with some designer stubble.
Is this Movember?
No, nothing to do with Movember. It's just Richard being the crazy cat that he is. But his bosses at Good Morning Britain, they weren't too keen on it. They asked him to shave it off. Madeley said, so it's all gone, smooth as a baby's bottom. Here he is before shaving, and here he is after. So, worth it.
Is he standing in for Piers Morgan?
He is, yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think you should discourage him, for God's sake.
What other surprising revelations did Richard make mid-show?
He doesn't wear underpants.
That's exactly right, yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how I know that.
Oh, God. He revealed he hadn't worn underwear for decades. And why has a statue of Egyptian footballer Mo Salah been criticised this week?
The head's too big. Or it's out of proportion or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like
Cool.
him.
Wait till they see the Sphinx.
It's good to hear a Sphinx joke. You know?
This generation, nothing with the Sphinx joke.
So I turned to Ramesses a second.
Here's a picture of Mo, and here's the statue that was unveiled in Egypt this week.
Man, he looks like Leo Sayer going through a change.
Yeah.
Yes, they've all had their appearance criticised, except for Char, who's been voted Britain's sexiest cow. And if you find her attractive, you want to get in touch with her, you'll find her on Meat Grinder. Some people are already protesting that it's a bit sexist to objectify a cow for her looks. #MooToo. Time now for the Missing Words Round, which this week features as its guest publication the Tools and Trades History Society newsletter. Skip the item about detachable drill heads, there's always a boring bit. We start with one of the best things about last month's Tools and Trades History Society meeting in Suffolk was...
the sex show at the end. Featuring Monica and her obedient snake, Tommy.
Was it that it was cancelled?
Was it that everyone got hammered? Hey!
It was the buffet we enjoyed afterwards. This is, of course, from Tools and Trades History Society. If you're looking to see a wide variety of tools, you'll find them at the buffet. Next, whenever the royal family play football at Balmoral, what?
The Queen referees. And if there's a foul, she waves play on.
No.
What do you mean, no?
She doesn't. What does the Queen do?
She plays in goal.
Exactly right, yes. The Queen always goes in goal.
You know, I think I'm cleverer than I really am.
This is the surprising revelation this week that not only did the royal family enjoy a kick around, but the Queen likes to go in goal. But to be clear, we're not saying the Queen is a footballer. That would be silly. She could not get by on 300 grand a week. And finally, how many of you have felt the inexorable force that drags you into what?
An ironmonger's.
Very close.
Really?
Yeah.
A tool shop.
Every tool shop you pass.
I'm going to buy a lottery ticket this weekend.
Here's a picture of the things you might pick up if you're a Saudi on the way to the embassy. And on that high note, the final scores have Ian and Lucy on 4, but Paul and Reg have pulled it back with 6.
We finally won! We finally won! Whoa!
Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
The Republican wives' luncheon.
More tea, Wicker.
Why do wizards earn 20% more than us?
The annual staff dinner of the Which Consumer magazine goes very well.
And I leave you with the news that in Westminster Abbey, after a noisy argument repeatedly interrupts the service, 2 members of the congregation receive a final warning that they risk being thrown out. In Dagenham, angry punters demand a refund after attending a performance of The Lion King in a pub car park. And abroad, there's a heartfelt reaction from one woman after a colleague asks if she's ever considered spending her retirement living in the UK. Good night.
BBC Two has more news for you with Nish Kumar in half an hour. It's the MASH report at 10. Here on BBC One, Jo Brand is on top form as she puts a nightclubbing anecdote under serious scrutiny. Would I lie to you? Next.